Welcome back. It's time for the roundtable, and this week we've got lots to talk about, from Starbucks possibly hitting the wrong brew button when it comes to mixing coffee sales with talk about race, to those closely watched talks with Iran and what it means for the business community. And this week, one of the great one-liners in the history of interest rates. Fed Chair Janet Yellen telling reporters that just because the Fed isn't saying it's patient when it comes to interest rates doesn't mean it's impatient. Here to tell us what that means and more, economist Peter Morici from the University of Maryland Smith School of Business, and Josh Boak, economics reporter for the Associated Press. Gentlemen, as always, welcome back. Peter Morici, you take the first crack at it. We may not be saying we're patient, but we're not impatient. What does that mean for interest rates?
Well, it means that the Fed has opened the door to raising the rates as early as June, but doesn't mean it has to. Essentially, we've always said, economists always have believed that you should raise rates when conditions warrant it. And the economy is doing better, but it's facing a lot of headwinds in the international economy, including a stronger dollar. She's giving deference to that. It's solid economics, and it's nothing to be alarmed about.
Quickly, give it a time frame. When do we start to see them being impatient?
I would suggest the meeting afterwards, the end of July or in September. Since this is not an election year, September is fair game.
Josh, I'm a mom of 3 kids. When I'm not patient, I am impatient. Do you think Janet Yellen is just trying to acknowledge impatience while calming the kids out there on Wall Street that get sometimes have a little bit of meltdown when they talk about interest rates? Or what do you think she's trying to say?
Janet Yellen's the head of the Fed, not Merriam-Webster dictionary, right? What she's really communicating is that the rate increase is going to occur later, and more importantly, when it does occur, it's not going to be as steep an acceleration as you might think. The reason why, simple. Economic growth is trailing off relative to last year, inflation is lower, and we're not necessarily seeing wage gains. Until you see that wage growth, the Fed has every reason to keep rates low.
Okay, I want to talk about Starbucks, though, so let's go ahead and switch topics, because this week it was interesting. Howard Schultz, CEO of Starbucks, one of my favorite CEOs, we've interviewed him for the show, unquestionable success at selling coffee and much more, but he seemed to hit a wrong note this week when he told baristas to start writing the hashtag Race Together on coffee cups and initiating a conversation about race given all the current tensions. As a retailer, Peter, some black customers, some white customers said, I just want my cup of coffee. I don't want to talk about race. What's your take on that?
I come from a family of salesmen. My father and uncles all sold life insurance, and they said to me, Peter, stay out of politics and religion when you talk to people. Well, people don't care that much about religion, but the president, this administration, has put race into just about
We all care about race right now. This is a hot topic.
I understand, but he has put it into every discussion as a matter of policy. That's all the more reason for someone in commerce to stay out of it and to leave it to politicians.
Okay, so Josh, let's acknowledge the obvious. Us 3 white people sitting here on today's panel, it's not always that way, but Anil Dash, who is someone that a lot of people in Silicon Valley listen to and others, he tweeted out a tweet that we're going to show up on the screen about how it took 45 minutes for my barista to draw this on the coffee cup. And you can't really see it because we had to get it all in there. But what that is are all the white guys that are executives at Starbucks, plus a couple of other people who are minority, including my friend Vivek Varma, who is one of their top executives, but mostly all white guys. And his point being, Starbucks, if you want to talk about race, why don't you talk about your executive committee?
It's a fair criticism. And to be clear, my in-laws are all African American.
My brother-in-law. But I still don't know whether that's the right place to exactly.
So I
Peter's
say
like,
that
great.
because this is often an intimate family conversation. We need to realize, though, that more and more businesses are expected to be socially conscious, right? We have Warby Parker giving away free glasses. We have Tom Shoes giving away shoes. There's an expectation to be socially conscious. The problem is on race is it's an abstract concept. It's hard to talk about. There's no tangible giveaway. And so that creates the challenge for Schultz, and that creates the challenge for Starbucks.
Hey, he's a publicly traded company. I say if the investors and the board are going to allow him to do it and he wants to do it, more power to him. It is difficult, as proven by the fact of what he tried to do, and maybe he hit the wrong note, but I applaud him for trying. The other difficult thing we're seeing this week, Peter, well, there's lots of difficult things out there, but let's face it, the U.S.-Iranian talks, one of the sticking points right now, Iranians want sanctions to go away immediately if they agree to a nuclear arms deal. U.S. wants them to last longer. Your take on the talks very quickly.
It would be foolish for the U.S. administration and its allies to give in to Iran on this point, because once they pull back the sanctions, it's going to be very hard to put them back together again. A lot of oil is going to come on the market. Life is going to get rearranged in the energy system. So Iran needs to accept that the sanctions are going to come off as we see tangible actions on their part.
Josh spoke. We're not in these talks alone, and our European allies. I was at a board meeting this week for the University of Oklahoma's College of International Studies. We spoke to one local expert. She says it's not just that our European allies have booked tickets to Iran to start talks about doing business there. They're on the ground. Are we hurting our own business community by not being more flexible on sanctions?
Well, what Iran really wants to do is put more barrels of oil into the market at a time when oil prices are falling. They've said we want to compete for market share. So right now they put out 1 million barrels a day. They want to take that back up to the old average of about 2.5 million. So cheaper oil has been key for Europe to rebound economically.
We got to go to break. Yes or no? Be a little bit more flexible on sanctions or keep holding firm?
Depends on what we want. If we want a safer world, we might need to be tough on sanctions. If we want cheaper oil, we need to be loose.
Shows the problem. We want both. Okay, stay with us. We've got our pop quiz when we come back. Welcome back. So this Duke grad is very proud to serve, as I said, on the University of Oklahoma's College of International Studies. So for the pop quiz today, we're letting a College of International Studies China Studies major ask the question today. Tell us who you are and tell us your question.
My name's Ariel Paisley Richards. I'm from Edmond, Oklahoma. The question today is, with China today, is it more advantageous for us to do business with them or not?
Well, China's market is getting bigger, so there's more opportunities in terms of customers, but the Chinese government's becoming more restrictive. It wants to make rules that businesses don't always consider friendly. So, yes, more opportunity, but also more risk.
Oh, come on, Josh. He's just being polite because we have a student on the set. China drives Peter Marisi crazy. He thinks they're constantly putting restrictions on our businesses and take advantage of opportunities. But I still say the good outweighs the bad. What do you say?
It is what it is, right? I mean, there's a lot of advantages in China right now, and there's a lot of advantages for U.S. consumers by doing business with China. The stronger dollar has made Chinese imports way cheaper for Americans, and you're going to see those savings crop up. But if we're talking about Americans investing in China, that kind of becomes a problem, because how do you value those assets in a system that isn't transparent? And we're seeing that right now.
How long will it stay the way it is?
So, Peter, just quickly.
Because it's
yes or no? No, we only got 10 seconds.
Becoming unstable.
Peter, do we push harder for tough regulations against China or not? Yes or no?
We push harder.
Thank you.